Oh, so Ada Bible Church believes in small groups. No, we believe in relational discipleship. That there's stuff that happens in a circle where people know each other's needs and when people know each other's direction and their story, that simply doesn't happen in a row, which is kind of sage on the stage. Someone talking and you listen. This is the relational environment. This is the power of the circle. In the circle, it's generally a curriculum. Some of our small groups dial back to the weekend service and they talk about the implications of what we taught in a Saturday or Sunday morning. Many of our small groups choose another curriculum. We still encourage them to go back and discuss what happened in the message on the weekend and its implications for their life. But then there's the non-curricular side. It's the life stuff that emerges. I forgot the verse. Pause for one moment, please. Follow Jesus with me. Luke chapter 6, verses 12 and 13. One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray. Probably a quick prayer. No. And he spent the night out on this hillside praying to God his Father. When morning came, he called his disciples and he chose 12 of them whom he designated what? Apostles. Now listen, sometimes we talk about the 12 disciples and that's accurate, but Jesus had dozens and dozens and dozens of followers, disciples, a bunch of followers. And so Jesus called dozens of disciples, scores of disciples. He says, you, and he picks 12 of his disciples and he designates them as apostles. Now, sometimes people talk about the 12 disciples. Sometimes they talk about the 12 apostles. What's the difference? Disciple means learner. It means follower. And there were dozens of people who followed Jesus and who learned from him who weren't of the 12. The word apostle means one who is sent. And the idea for these 12 is that they are with Jesus for some intensive experiences that nobody else gets to see and hear, and then he's gonna send them out with some specific responsibilities, like that Matthew 28 thing at the end of his ministry where he tells them, now you go and make other disciples. So a disciple becomes an apostle, one who learns becomes one who is sent. But here, suddenly we see Jesus not simply with the row teaching a bunch of people in a synagogue or by the lake or in a house. Here, he's training his 12 guys. And they get in on information nobody else sees. Only the disciples are at the Last Supper with Jesus. In the garden, it's called the Garden of Gethsemane. It's the place where Jesus gets arrested. Only his 12 guys are there. There are times when he says, hey guys, we gotta leave the crowd. We gotta get away from here because I have some specialized training just for you. This is the power of the circle. Good, I'm so glad I remembered that. Last year, Chris and I, we invited 5 couples to meet us in our home every week. It was on Mondays. It was like for 10 months. It was like September through June, so 9.5 or 10 months. We meet at 6 o'clock in the evening on Monday and we'd have dinner. Everybody would bring something to eat. We would dine together, and then following dinner, we'd have a conversation and we'd do a study with each other. This is the non-curricular side because we're usually studying a character in the Bible or reading a book or something like that. But 2 of the couples had recently moved to Grand Rapids area. New jobs, new city. Both of them came from out of state. New doctors, new schools, new everything. And I think being embedded in a group of a dozen, Chris and I and 5 other couples, I think was very valuable for someone just making their way into Grand Rapids. We had some friends in the group who months before the group started had given birth to their first baby who had born with a serious disability, almost died in the hospital, but then required operation after operation over the coming months. We're not in Grand Rapids, but driving to U of M, Medical Center across the state, coming back. So we meet on Monday night and have hey, how did your week go? How did your week go? And we get to them, and often it's just a meltdown with, we had this surgery and this is how it went, and we've got to go back, and tired and exhausted and worn out. Listen, I'm so glad we were there for them. Another couple in our group decided to become foster parents for a baby. It's a 6-month-old baby girl. Been from a neglectful background, developmentally way behind, and they were gonna take this baby in for 3 months before the baby went back to a home or was adopted out, and it turned into 6 months, and it turned into 9 months, and it turned into a year, and then it was going on a year and a half, and then all of the internal conflict is this baby girl had become part of their home, who was a baby, is now a toddler, and then the court drama of does she go back to the addicted parent? Can we find an adopted family? So the court thing comes in, and wife, are we supposed to adopt this child? And the husband, we've got 3 kids, and so the husband told me our marriage was under greater strain in the final days of that foster situation than we have ever been under at any time in our marriage. And the wife said to the group, I don't know how we would have made it through this past year without you guys. But listen, the purpose isn't just friendship. You can find a group of buddies in a softball league or a book club. It's not friendship, it's friendship with a purpose. What's the goal? 3 words, please. It's not simply they helped us through our unemployment, they loved us through our infertility, they guided us when our marriage was really dicey. It's they helped us respond like Jesus during our unemployment. They helped us know the love of Jesus during our infertility. And a guy would say, this other guy in the group taught me how to love my wife like Jesus loved the church and gave up himself for the church. He taught me what it was like to love my wife. And so it's not simply awesome, people know each other's names and groups of friendships. It's friendship with purpose. The purpose is becoming like the Christ. I believe so firmly in what can happen in the row. I've devoted my life to the craft of teaching the scriptures, and yet I know that when people exit, there's something that the circle can do as you help each other grow that the row can simply never accomplish.